I'm Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails, and someone foolishly has let me take over Rage for tonight. So I'll be playing, you'll be seeing videos that I've selected, and occasionally hear my often inane comments between them. And so stay tuned, and hopefully it's not going to be too boring for you. The band Ween, what can be said about them other than they're geniuses, they're funny guys. Listen to a Ween record, you'll be confused. Hopefully you'll laugh a little bit. We had the pleasure of touring with them in Australia, I believe, at Alternative Festival, Alternative Nation Festival, which all I remember about that is hanging out with Ween and mud, lots of mud, and these real funny guys. And this song, I think, has one of the most classic, listen for what they're saying in the chorus. This is Freedom of 76. The chorus is a classic lyric that I think is worth checking out. Ween, Freedom of 76. Next up is a band that I became friends with kind of an accidental fashion, where big party at the studio in New Orleans. This was about the time we were doing the Marilyn Manson Antichrist Superstar record. Love and Rockets had played in town, and next thing I knew, there was 40 people in the studio about 3 or 4 in the morning. I didn't have any idea who they were, and ended up having some drunken bonding and realized that it ended up being the Dandy Warhols. And the only thing I really knew about Dandy Warhols was I thought, what a stupid name for a band, the Dandy Warhols. And it prompted me to go out and buy the record, and which the one, I forget which one that's on. But the song, Not a Few, The Last Junkie on Earth, the video came out. Courtney and I have gone on to become friends, and I really think this album is great, and this song is funny, and I remember them seeing somebody describe it like, yeah, we were really trying to get a kind of Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield kind of feel going on in this thing, and I just think it's really funny, and I think the song's really good, and this is the Dandy Warhols, Not a Few, The Last Junkie on Earth. Next up is a video by the Aphex Twin, who is Richard James, and kind of a madman of sound and process. And he's been a big influence in 9 Inch Nails camp. This video, when it came out, Chris Cunningham, I believe, directed it. This is Come to Daddy. And I remember when sitting around the studio when we first saw this, and it was, we were all pretty pissed off because it was so good, and it was horrifying, and I think you'll really like it, so here it is. Aphex Twin, Come to Daddy. When I got chosen to pick these videos that mattered to me, looking through a long list of a book, sometimes you see songs you really like that you can't remember exactly what the video's like. This next one is one of those, but it's an important track that meant a lot to me, and still does. This is from A Tribe Called Quest. It's probably my favorite hip-hop act. And this particular song, Award Tour, I was going through a phase of, I think, going insane, where I was living in Big Sur, California, starting to work on the Fragile. And I had this, I had the disc Midnight Marauders in the CD changer, but I think it was the only one in there, because every morning I'd wake up, beautiful sunny beach, lonely piano, nobody within 100 miles, and had the pleasure of trying to figure out how to start writing a new album. And this song, every time it would come on, I would took comfort in it. So this one holds. I still have this in my car. This is Tribe Called Quest with Award Tour. As I said before, Tribe Called Quest has been a big influence, and I just like the musicality of it, the vibe of it, the spirituality of it, and free-flowing kind of rhyme through the whole thing. As they've broken up, Q-Tip's gone solo. I've been waiting a long time to see what his record's like, and very pleased with the results. Just got it. It's a big favorite in my car back home. If I ever get home, to get back in my car. I would have chosen Vibrant Thing, but it wasn't on the list, so this is the next single, Breathe and Stop. And if for no other reason, there's more beautiful women in this video than average, so I was selfish kind of. Once in a while, it's not all hanging upside down in my closet feeling miserable. Once in a while, let my hair down, enjoy good light porn videos, and this kind of fills that gap. So this is Q-Tip with Breathe and Stop. Next up, what might be considered an odd choice for me, the Prince of Darkness. But I found, once I was watching MTV one time and I saw a video that I thought the song was possibly the worst song I'd ever heard. And then I watched the video, I saw the end of the video, and couldn't figure out what I didn't understand what was happening here. Then I saw it again, and I liked it. And then I saw it a third time, and I thought it was really good. And it was Erykah Badu with her first single, On and On. So right after that, I was living, and am still living in New Orleans. We have a House of Blues there. She was playing, so I went down to check out the show. And I have to say, probably one of the best shows I'd ever seen in my life. And what was mesmerizing was it was completely packed. I think I was one of the few white people in there, but everybody knew every word to every song to a fairly new album. And her grace and presence and her command of the stage and the real spirituality and emotional aspect of that show, like, made a mark. And you realize some of the differences between a more R&B related show or the different genres of music and different ways it connects with people. I mean, there was no mosh pit going on at that show, but there was a real connection that was something that I'd hoped at some point is worth considering incorporating into a different arena. I don't mean I'm going gospel all of a sudden, but I do think there was a real connection there, and that really impressed me. So I went out and then got her album, and ended up listening to it all the time, much to the ridicule of everyone else in my band. But I really think this is a good song, and I think it's an interesting video, and I think she's sexy, and I think the whole presence is a pretty cool thing. This is Erykah Badu with On and On. This next group, Public Enemy, was very inspirational to Nine Inch Nails in the sense the collision of music. And I remember when we first heard the first and second album in particular, couldn't figure out what it was. It sounded like 5 records playing at the same time. And the first track on the first album and Down in It are the same drum beat, because I kind of lifted that to kind of give a different flavor to things. But I remember with, I think on this track, Night of the Living Bassheads, it was to me kind of the apex of when the Bomb Squad, Hank Shocklee production crew kind of were at their most volatile, where it seemed like anything might happen. And I really felt that at that time, it was a very foreign way of making music than how I was doing it, and very culturally different way, but very exciting and inspirational. And I'd say if in the current evolution of rap and hip hop, what I probably miss, although it's a necessary evolutionary step to get away from it, is some of that chaos coming back in. I mean, on the Roots newest album, I hear some of that creeping back in, and I really that type of sound, that collision of beats and music and juxtaposed, sometimes in different keys, things thrown together, create a whole that is very new and it's very cool. I think one thing that stopped a lot of that was after those records came out and after De La Soul came out, suddenly there's a whole new lawyer industry of sample copyrights and busting people for doing this, and it became so financially you became unable to do it. It was such a pain in the ass to get clearance for this and that, and I'd been through a couple of those things. That I think it became easier just to make your own kind of generic beats that were kind of like that. But it took away from the spirit of just music is interchangeable. I'm off on a tangent. This is Public Enemy, Night of the Living Bassheads. When we were recording the Fragile, someone brought a record in and put it on that, or CD put in, that confounded us because of the fury and just the wrong soundingness of it. We found out it was Atari Teenage Riot. And it was very inspiring because, again, it was approaching simple kind of low-tech technology thrown together into such a seemingly careless fashion that we experimented with doing some of the same sort of things just for our own exploration, not so much anything to release. And realized how hard it is to do that, especially when you have too much equipment. And ended up becoming like one of my favorite albums, and just something I really like to listen to. So when the new one came out, 60 Second Wipeout, we had just gone to Europe, or we were going to Europe, and we had a list of choice of potential opening acts, and I insisted on seeing if Atari Teenage Riot could be on that bill, because I thought it would be an interesting juxtaposition. Plus I wanted to meet the guys and see if I could extract their secrets from them, or at least see their approach, because it was very different to mine. But I really like what they do. This video came out, I believe Andrea Jacoby directed it, who did the One Good Garbage video, and I've taken some photos with him, and he's an excellent director. And this video is just a weird, cool video. This is Atari Teenage Riot with Revolution Action. Hi, I'm Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails, and this is Rage. This next group, Cibo Matto, I don't know that much about, really. And a lot of what I've heard from them I didn't particularly like, but I chose this video, Sugar Water, because I think that primarily the music track is excellent, and I can't figure out how they did the video. And I think it's really interesting split screen. Somebody's going forward and the other one's going backwards, and it's changes in the middle, but they both interact through the whole thing. And I think it's very, very well done and appropriate visual to accommodate a very interesting, sweet song. This is Cibo Matto with Sugar Water. Hi, I'm Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails, and this is Rage. Regarding 9 Inch Nails videos, which I am intimately involved in, I'd have to say that, to start with, I hate making videos. I think there was a time when it was a lot more exciting, back when we came out early 90s. It was more fun because you could make a video cheaper. You could make a video that was more experimental. And it wasn't competing with, I suppose it was competing, but it seems like the big Puff Daddy gloss Hype Williams look that you have today, which has become the hallmark of what videos are supposed to look like, it wasn't as embedded. And you could get away with a Super 8 video. You can get away with some things that you could take more chances with, and that you didn't have to hire one of 10 established directors. Your friend with a video camera could make a video. The first video I asked for on this list, which wasn't on that list, was Ministry's Stigmata video, which when I saw it, I thought, no, that's a video that fits the song. And low-tech, scary, doesn't look like a video, it looks like a small, short horror film. And when we started doing video, when we first got to do videos, first one we did was Down In It. We used the same directors, and they were just a bunch of guys out of art school that just had fun. They didn't get permits, they just showed up and hoped the cops didn't come. And anyway, a million miles away from that era now, take us to Downward Spiral era, 94, I believe, maybe early 95. We had we'd done the video for March of the Pigs, which I'll talk about later, and Closer started taking off on the radio, much to my surprise, because I didn't think it was playable. And we were forced to kind of, okay, who do we want to make a video? What do we want to do? And we've done the very gritty stuff. We've done some of the live performance things, and I wanted to go with an established director, and I wanted to go with somebody that had the opposite kind of look that what we've been avoiding, a more higher tech ability or a more refined approach to filmmaking. So I chose Mark Romanek, who had done the Madonna Rain video. He'd done Lenny Kravitz' Do You Want to Go My Way performance thing, not necessarily for that video, but I felt a sense of there's something about his videos that they did not necessarily look the same, but there was a tastefulness within it that I thought was great. We went into kind of conversations and negotiations, and what I think we produced was the best video that I've ever made, and one of the best videos I've ever seen, and without sounding like Fred Durst. I think it's a piece of art, and I'll give 95% of the credit to that to Mark Romanek. The song is Closer, and I just recently been talking to Mark, and I said we talked about maybe doing something on the new album, maybe not. And I gave him a compliment that I had not given a director before, which was seeing your video made my music sound better to me. And in this case, in this track, I believe it does. This is my favorite video that we've done. This is Closer, 9 Inch Nails. With March of the Pigs, it's the first single we're gonna put off of Downward Spiral, with a single ahead of the record. And the point much like we did with the Fragile, with The Day the World Went Away, is to put out something that confuses people, or it might throw you off the trail of what the record's about. We would never pick the obvious single, if there ever is one, to be that lead track. So with March of the Pigs, which was one of our favorite tracks on the record, but not necessarily commercially the most viable ones, I went to Peter Christopherson, who had directed Wish for us in the past, and is also in the group Coil, and had become a friend of mine. We came up with this kind of bizarre concept performance video in a somewhat hellish environment, and at one point I started getting apprehensive when I showed up on the set, and it didn't quite look, it looked kind of like styrofoam, which is what it was, and in a wading pool, and I was a little unsure about a lot of things, and at one point there was a midget with horns on his head on my back. It ended up being very Spinal Tap when I finally saw the edit of it. So we put that aside and we said, okay, idea 2. What if we just play the song in a room with no edits? And usually when you do a video, you lip sync to the audio, so you're not actually playing the song, you're just singing along to the track. Let's just play the song too live. Let's have it completely live with no edits. And whatever comes out, comes out. So the video that was released from March of the Pigs was us just set up in the corner of a white soundstage, and we played the track, I think, about 15 to 18 times until we couldn't play it anymore. And then we just picked the one we thought was the best. And that was the video. And I think it's turned out to be probably my second favorite video that we've done. And there's a chaos and there's a ridiculousness to it, but I think it gets the point of the track across, and it has a nice excitement level to it. And it was, I think, reactionary to what was happening on video at that time. So this is 9 Inch Nails' March of the Pigs. With the release of the latest record I've put out, The Fragile, I've had a real difficult time trying to, or having to do videos, or choosing to do videos, as to what videos to do and how to do them. Because I think the album is very visual in itself from a listenable point of view. And I think a big mistake you can make as an artist is to slap on visuals just to have visuals to throw at people, because it erases what's in their head. It's like when you read a book, usually what's in my head isn't as good as what I see on the screen when they turn into a movie. And although Into the Void, which is the track that's up next, was not as visual as some of the other tracks on the record. We chose to make a video for it. I had a concept in mind that I was going to direct myself, but we were right in the middle of a European tour, and I only had 3 weeks to get it done. And I hadn't directed a video before, and I knew I wouldn't have the time to dedicate to that amidst touring and traveling around Europe in winter. So I went with a guy who I respect a lot, Walter Stern, done some of the Prodigy videos and as well as others. And we had a long conversation, and it kind of got the feel of what we wanted to do. So the next step was really just show up and start the filming process, which was supposed to be just really an examination of human beings. And you may not know it's a performance at all till the end, and we may never back it up to a performance. And we had a hellish day of sitting in a chair with a motion control camera, which is as big as 2 refrigerators hooked up together, and really didn't get enough footage, so we had to go back again, and he got more footage without us. Then we put that together, and that didn't really, it didn't really deliver as far as an exciting video as much as it did a kind of experiment with cameras and that. So we reshot again right before we left to go to Japan and then come to Australia. A live segment that was just all-out chaos and probably reminiscent a bit of March of the Pigs. The resulting video I saw the morning before I left as I stayed up all night helping edit it, and I haven't seen since. So I liked it then in that state of delusional delirium. But judge for yourself. Here's 9 Inch Nails with Into the Void.